Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Kamen Rider X8 episode 44. This is the penultimate episode, and it was pretty good. The first thing I want to talk about real quick is, first thing I want to do is just break and go into gibberish. No, is talk about the build cameo, because I think people mentioned this to me on Twitter and in the comments, but like, because I haven't been paying attention. I pay attention to Toku. I cannot talk in this one. I just filmed Q Ranger almost fine. Toku News, I'm very selective with it. So, I didn't know like exactly when Build was coming, other than one of the news accounts I follow saying Build was going to be making a cameo. And, so he made a cameo in this one. I get a feeling there'll be one next time too. I probably should have looked this up before I started, which is the case with a lot of things. But if I remember right, Ghost had a two-pronged X8 cameo. The hell's a cameo? Cameo. Cameo is like a super fancy cameo. Anyway, there was like Genom when he showed up on his Shakuriki Sports, and then it was like actually X8. So I think that happened. I don't remember if that happened between the penultimate and the final, or if it was both cameos in the same episode, but I do remember that they for sure had like a two-pronged thing. So I thought it was kind of a neat touch that Genom was the first one to encounter Build, since he, you know, was the first cameo last time, and he came in all cool with his cool music and his bike and stuff. So, because I was wondering like why he wasn't in Dangerous Zombie, and I was thinking maybe they're trying to like hit some greatest hit forms in these last two episodes, and I love that suit, so I was happy. And then I'm like, oh, that's why. So, my thoughts on it are like, I'm not gonna let it bother me too much. There is a part of me that it still bothers me when they do these things, because I think it's kind of unnecessary. I dig it kind of in the movies, like when it's a quick cameo from the writer or Sentai, because it makes sense. You're getting a big audience at the theater, like, oh hey, this is coming soon. But like, it bothers me when they do it in the show, whether it's this or the movies, just because it kind of interrupts the narrative. And especially right now, like it's the final episodes and you're all super into it, and then I'm just kind of taken out by this, hey, watch our next show advertisement. And I also find it a bit unnecessary because they have the damn trailer right afterwards, so you don't really need Build showing up. You can just show the trailer and maybe have one during the intermission commercials. So there's plenty of chances. It's the same thing with the movies. You have clips of it in the theme song, you have the trailer after the next episode trailer, so you have the advertisement in the episodes. Viewers are seeing that there's this new show or new movie coming out while they're watching the episode. They don't need this stupid cameo. Like, sometimes they work with the movies where the stories are tied together and it sort of leads in, and I think that's cool, but I sound like I'm more annoyed than I am. It's something that bothers me a little bit, a practice that they've been doing, and it's also more confusing because the writer shows and the Sentai shows don't have, like, it's not like a Marvel movie or a DC TV show or whatever where the continuity is all the same. Toku's is like, they're connected but they're not. It's like on a case-by-case basis, so it just bothers me. I really preferred it back. My favorite ones were back when it was trying to do a bit of a shared universe, when O's they showed the medals at Foundation X, or the little cameo by, I think it was Kengo at the end of O's. I liked those. Those are actually, that scene of like, them just looking at the O medals on the pad in Double was one of my favorite little scenes ever, because I thought it was really cool, like foreshadowing for the next year, back when they might have done something bigger with Foundation X. So I like stuff like that. Anyway, I went on way too long about that. I was like separate thoughts on something, but as far as the actual cameo goed, outside of all those thoughts, it was a fun little fight scene. Build seemed fun in the first little taste of him. But that sounded weird too. So that was a weird 4 minutes. So now let's get on to the actual episode. So basically it was about defeating Gemdis, but it was also about the final appearance of Poppy and Palad, who basically both sacrificed themselves in neat ways. That sounds weird, like it was really cool how they killed themselves. I mean, like, it was like good conclusions for their storylines. Poppy is a character who I've had very mixed relationship with, which I'll get into more in the series review. But ever since her arc when she went evil and then came back and said, I just want to play Dorifamu Beat with everyone, she's annoyed me less. I think she's had some actual good character moments since then, and I think this one here really like finished it off nicely with her sacrificing herself to cure everyone of the disease. I get a feeling that of the two, we might see a Poppy resurrection in the next episode, just because I feel like she's someone that's going to appear whenever they want X-Aid casts in for their movies, whether it's, you know, the X-Aid build crossover or whatever, superhero tie-ins. So I kind of hope she doesn't, not in a like I hate Poppy way, but just I hate when you lose the impact of that sacrifice when they do that. But regardless, it was a nice like end for her now. Same with Palad, because it was, like he said, he was trying to make up for his deeds, and it was a nice showcase of his relationship with Emu, of like, you know, it was fun playing with you, and like the playing on their relationship of like him just wanting to play games with him, and it was good. But my only complaint with it, which we'll see how it goes into next week, is that was kind of stupid of him to erase the Gemdis part, so now by sacrificing himself, so now X-Aid can't use Hyper Muteki, so they can't fight Kronos as well. That, like I said, that could be something that's remedied next week, depending on how it goes down. So that did seem a bit dumb, but if I put a pin in that until I see how it's resolved next week, I thought it was a good end for Palad, because of the two, and a lot of the, I guess Dan did do a lot of awful things too, but he did a lot of awful stuff as a bugster. So even though he like redeemed himself, it was like a good way, and a bit cliche, but good way of redeeming himself. Also, a highlight of this episode was they brought back the level 1s, which we haven't seen in quite some time. I thought it was cool for two ways, because it was kind of a neat, again, kind of what I mentioned with Genom at the beginning, like a greatest hits type of bit I was feeling. Sometimes they do that near the end of the series, and they probably thought, we want to see these one more time before the series ends. I always thought they were kind of adorable. I loved the little running sequence in the trailer, and they brought that back of him like running. It did kind of get annoying after a while, just because you'd be in these really serious fights and then you have this Chubbo form. But I did like them more than I disliked them, I think. So it was nice to see him back, and it was brought back in a cool way, and it tied it back to the lore from the very beginning of the series of they needed that form to initially break the connection with the patient and stuff like that. And so the logic of using that not only was cool, it was cool to see them again, but it made for a really fun video gamey fight of them all bouncing and flipping around and saying signature lines. And it was really cool because I could take it seriously as this is still one of the final fights and they're fighting their hardest, and it was a fun fight to watch, but it was also very entertaining in the sense that they all morphed and did basically a roll call of, you know, saying their catchphrases all serious, but they're in their level 1 forms. So I thought that was a really neat way of going about it. But yeah, so next week it looks like I actually thought we were going to wrap up this week, and next week was going to be epilogue with the build cameo, which I do kind of prefer that, but we'll see how it goes. I feel like they got a little bit squished here at the end. I wish they would have known they would have had a little bit less episodes at the end, because there definitely some filler they could have trimmed throughout the series. Again, that's something I'll probably get into my series review, but like, I wish they would have gotten more notice, because we'll see how next week ends, but I do really like that style of having a kind of epilogue episode as a result of doing a cameo by the next writer. We still might get that. For all we know, the first half could be the end of this fight, and then the second's more epilogue-y, but I'm looking forward to seeing how it ends. This was a really good penultimate episode, some good character moments, some really fun action moments and pieces and stuff like that. Another 8.5. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Awesome Writer, signing out.